What's up, guys? You're very welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast. I'm Ronan Gaine. Joining me as always, Chris Nambu. Lot to discuss on today's episode. We're talking Detroit Pistons. We've been watching them over the past week. We're looking at that elite defense that has them atop the Eastern Conference. Are they ready for a playoff push? Can Jalen Duren sustain this great form? Is Cade Cunningham the MVP of the league? We'll be getting into that and much more on the Pistons. We'll also be talking the race for MVP. Is it just between Jokic and Shai? Who could fill the gap if both of those players miss out due to number of missed games? And then we have to talk about the Sixth Man of the Year race, another incredibly tight race. Is it Naz Reid's to lose? Could Reed Shepherd make a case? There's a lot to get into, but there's only one place to start. Yeah, Pistons have been on it, and I guess the place we have to start is with that defense, because that really is what has elevated them to the top of the Eastern Conference. And amazingly, they're doing it despite probably realistically having two bad defenders in their starting lineup. One great team defender, one great on-ball and team defender, and then Jalen Duren, who's just like a really strong defensive piece. It's interesting that the team has been able to come together and be this dominant defensively.
All right, who are you calling out?
Duncan Robinson and Cade, obviously.
Okay. I think that I want to talk on that Cade piece on the defensive side of the ball. Now, I think that there's definitely been times we know it's Cade's strengths and his weaknesses. We know that sometimes he can get blown by. There's our faster players. He's not the fastest lateral mover. He's not the best at screen navigation. And I think at times that if you want to get Cade in action and you got a great screener, you got a fast player, then you're kind of like the backside defense is rotating. Then that's where you have. I mean, that's what Detroit's strength is, though, because they have switchable defenders around him. They have Duren, who gets stunned in the drop. He's been a good rim defender. And, of course, you got Ausar Thompson lurking in the back. You got guys and you got Beef Stew as well, who's been playing great. I mean, talk about their depth, Paul Reed. But I don't think Cade has been bad this year, to be honest with you. I don't think he's been bad. I think the one strength that he's really shined through this season is, I mean, you look at him averaging a block a game, is that he's been a good weak side rim protector. You've seen him be really good in the fast break. He's really getting back on defense and contesting shots. You've seen him when he switched onto a non-shooter, that he really can float down to the paint and help as a weak side rim protector. And he's been very active on that end. And so, like, while he's not, like, ever going to be, like, a great screen navigator, like, elite point of attack defender, I think he's been pretty strong on that side. And if he's matched up against wings, like, he's not giving up, like, strong drives to the rim. But he is still a little bit, like, you saw it at times against the Cavs. Some of their
that's the best
guards.
Example. That was the undermanned Cavs team, and he got targeted and he fell out of the game.
Yes. So that was we can start there, because that was a really fascinating thing. But there's a couple games during this stretch of time. I think the Cavs are a good place to start, where we can talk all day about all the awesome stuff. Let's talk about some of the interesting holes that we saw. And Cade being a little bit weak on the point of attack against fast players is definitely one of them. I think that's something that people haven't poked all the time, and I think the Pistons have done a good job of protecting him. So it's surprising that it got exposed in a game like that, where no Harden, no Mitchell. But I think if you put Cade against Harden, I think that's not a terrible. If you get switched on to Harden, it's not ideal. You want your best defenders against him, but I think a player like that he's more suited to be strong against a drive. He's not going to get pushed around by a guy who's trying to get downhill. He's not going to get posted up on, and he's going to provide a lot of good weak side help. So I don't think he's been bad. Because I think 2 years ago we were talking about a bad defender. Last year we were talking about a defender. I think he's made some pretty good strides this season. He's looked better.
That's fair. I just think the Pistons have covered up for it well, and that's like not a criticism. That's just like a fact. They're kind of set up to cover up for his kind of weaknesses, which is great because he does so much for them offensively.
Yeah. I think on that front, talking about their defense, like, where do we rank Ausar Thompson right now as a defender? Like, when we talk about the best point of attack defenders, it's really hard to think about guys better than him.
No, I mean, yeah, especially like watching the Knicks, like he's made obviously Jalen Brunson completely uncomfortable. Obviously, he did it a bit in the playoffs last year, but he's taken it to another level throughout the regular season this year. Especially that most recent game where they dominated the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. Ausar like really made Jalen Brunson uncomfortable, and that doesn't happen. Like as much as James Brunson's undersized and little things like that, it's very difficult to make him uncomfortable even in one game, let alone in multiple games throughout a season, multiple matchups. So he's done a great job there, and you watch him, and he's just got that size and that length and that speed on the defensive end. Like it's hard to really just go and pick out anyone else, and you're like, yeah, I definitely want him as my one-on-one defender over Ausar Thompson. That's kind of the conversation you're having with yourself right now.
Yeah, and I think like one-on-one is like the obvious, like no one's going one-on-one on Ausar Thompson, and in fact, in a lot of games, like they're intentionally trying to screen away Thompson, get him switched on to someone else, and like get him away from the action. But I think it's a screen navigation that's kind of crazy for me for a guy like him. He's 6'8", like he's long, and he can still just get around these screens, and he moves like a small guard. Like you look at like your Drew Holidays, and Drew Holiday is not. I mean, he's not a small guard. He's a big guard. He's 6'4", but at his size, it makes a little more sense when you see a guy as big as Ausar Thompson, like just kind of squeak around the screen, and he's still in there. He's still on the guy's hip, and he's still big enough to cover up whatever he's about to do. And then you got to rescreen it. You got to reset. The amount of times the defense has to reset because Ausar Thompson just blew up their action is crazy. And I don't know. You look around it, like you take your pick: Drew Holiday, Jalen Suggs, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Herb Jones, Dylan Brooks, Jaden McDaniels. I don't know. Derek White. Who's the best? I mean, Amen Thompson for sure. The Thompson twins. He's got his twin to deal with, but Amen has a little bit more on his plate than Ausar right now. It's hard to think about. Obviously, you got to throw Scotty Barnes up there too, but it's hard to think about a better point of attack defender. And I think the Pistons have easily top three guy in the league right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. I would like to think, especially the fact that the Pistons' defense as a whole has been the second best in the league all year, that he will be on the all defensive team this year. He'll get that berth, 100%. And that will be like the start of it, the start of the real conversation around him being that really like top tier level defender.
Yeah, and I think the next point on the defense too for me is their depth. Not even talking about Duren yet, who we will absolutely talk about, but the depth of the center position, like, do they have the best depth in the league?
Yeah.
And it feels like...
I mean, yeah, it's up there, especially the way, like, Paul Reed played against the Knicks in that game without Duren and Stewart. Yeah, like, Paul Reed as your third center, like, that's great going.
I think Paul Reed probably starts on a couple of teams, on a handful of teams, and he's an easy, like, very good backup. I mean, he's starting on the Bulls. For sure.
Okay.
Starting
on losing teams, yeah, sure.
he's starting on the Pelicans. Before anything, he's probably starting on the Pacers. He's probably, but as a good like starting center, I think he would be a handy starting center. But as their third big, it's crazy. You lose Isaiah Stewart, who I think has been one of the most underrated defenders this year, and you throw in Paul Reed, and he's pretty much giving you the same thing, and I think that's been pretty crazy to see. When we talk about Cade's growth as a defender, I think that it can't be understated how good Jalen Duren has been and how much we've seen him grow from his rookie year to now, and what we see from him as a defender. You see him really maturing as a drop defender. You see him having really great he knows how high to get up on a screen. He knows when to get low. Like, you see him really paying attention to the details. And it's been really impactful for him to be protecting Cade at times. And the way he's protected the rim, the way he's been strong on the boards. Like, he's... Like, it's crazy to see his all-around game, but defensively in particular, it's been good to see.
Yeah, I mean, if your center is not at least a good defender, it's kind of impossible to have like a top two defense like the Pistons have. Like, you can't, like, they would not be near like this level, even when like Stewart playing the way he is. Like, obviously we know he's much more of a defensive piece than Duren, Sorry, getting upset. Much more of a defensive piece than Duren coming off the bench. But if Duren wasn't playing at a really high level defensively, they would not be the number two defense in the NBA, only behind the insane OKC Thunder, and they would not be this far ahead. They might still be top of the Eastern Conference, but they wouldn't have this cushion that they do right now without Duren really having stepped up on that defensive end.
Yeah, and I think it's a good time. Let's talk about Duren. Man, like, I'll just put it this way. We can dive into little things in this game that we've been seeing, but what number center is he in the league right now? He's the blank best center. I'll ask my Knicks friend here to be objective. Oh, 5. Okay. Name those names for me.
Who are we thinking of? Now I can't think of a single center in the NBA. Let's see. Okay, maybe there's obviously we know the one is Jokic. That's the clear and obvious one. I'm still gonna take obviously Wemby. Still probably gonna take Chet. I get that there's a difference there.
Center, or is he a 4?
Okay, you want to remove Wemby and Chet? If you want to do that, well then obviously it changes the conversation.
Chet's playing 5 a lot. They've not played a lot of double big this year. So I'd say Chet is fine. And you're taking Chet over Duren.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I will change my mind if Jalen Duren can put up 20 points per game in the playoffs because they're going to need that from them.
I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, okay, right now.
Season.
Well, then let's see. Who else plays? I can't even think of a center right now. I guess can we put him above Embiid?
Jokic, Embiid, Duren. I'm not taking Cat over him. I'm not taking Şengün over him. I'm not taking Chet. I mean, Chet is very elite in the shot blocking aspect and rim protection, and that's something that Duren will never reach. So I think obviously the ceiling's higher, and I think the playoff ceiling right now is theoretically higher too, just in terms of like what they both do is the whole mid range and downhill attack thing always going to be there for Duren, maybe not. But I think in terms of the regular season, what we've seen, man, I think I can comfortably say I feel like Duren's been the third best center in the league, and Şengün is a close. I could switch that with Şengün. Like that's very possible.
Yeah, I mean, if you're taking Wemby out of the conversation, yeah, and you're probably giving him the nod over Şengün, yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah, but it's crazy to say because I think there is when they picked Duren in the draft, I think there's a lot of intrigue about his physicality, his athleticism, and it's just kind of a blank slate. It's like, okay, how good will he get defensively? How much is he going to gel with Cade? Is he going to develop that touch around the rim? Which I think he has. I mean, I think the amazing thing about him, and I think this was a big test against the Cavs. When they're playing the Cavs, I think the question is, I mean, twofold. Obviously, it was how is Cade going to hold up against faster guards, and he didn't even have to play Mitchell, and that was tough. But it's how is Duren going to play with his physicality? How is he going to deal with bigger front courts? And he just bullied Mobley all night. Bullied him on the boards, getting off at the boards over him. He was just like pushing him around under the rim. He was still getting downhill. He was taking him off the dribble. And there's just a level of confidence that I think Duren has ascended to when he is given the responsibility. I think he says it himself. He feels like he's Cade Cunningham's tight end. He plays like a tight end, like especially when they're in that pick and roll. Like that's probably my favorite pick and roll combo in the league right now. But when you just give him the ball and you're like, hey, give me a little Giannis impression here. Like he can do it. He's giving you that. He's giving you that downhill drive. He's giving you that mid range. And that completeness of his game, he's still missing that 3-point shot, which I'm not sure he really even needs to at this point. But
the Pistons might need it.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that. But all in all, his offensive game is rounded out in a way that I don't think I ever saw coming. I don't know how many Pistons fans expected him to develop his mid-range game to this point, or really be able to put the ball on the floor and to attack bigs, almost in a way like a Karl Anthony Towns-esque type of way. Like if you put a big on him who's not able to really stay with him, like Jared Allen, good luck. I think Duren's going to take you off the dribble. given him space. Even Mobley, which was very surprising for him to have played the way he has against Mobley, really any center in the league, and just show his athleticism and his strength. That has been just absolutely elite from him.
Yeah, for sure. But I think obviously you got to give credit to the fact that Mobley and Allen both kind of dominated pretty well offensively as well themselves. But
Yeah,
offensively in that game, Duren stepped up, especially when Cade went out. That kind of was the moment. It was like, they're going to get into the clutch here. Both teams are kind of without their clutch, the guy that they want having the ball in their hands, getting into the clutch here. And the Pistons just about pulled it out. Obviously had to go to OT. Obviously really clever to get that to get those 3 shots to force OT.
Terrible. That was so bad.
Yeah, terrible defense, obviously, but clever from the Pistons. And then obviously they got the job done, and Duren was like fantastic in that. And like you see him when he can put on all those big games, those 25 plus games, and like you said, he's kind of like doing his little like Giannis impressions. He's like showing that athleticism, he's showing that dominance, and if he can keep that up, that's when you really start to fear the Pistons as you get deeper into the playoffs. I mean, you'd fear them anyway, but knowing that he can consistently put up 20 points per game alongside Cade, that's when they kind of take that next step.
Yeah. I think that the encouraging thing, minus obviously the 3-point shootings, that they have different ways to score. It's not just Cade every time. It's not just pick and roll. Like you can get him in the post, you can get Cade in the post. You can slow things down. If things kind of get mucked up, they have a slow style of play. And it's not pretty at times, but they can play in the mud. Like they can play through that sort of thing. But that kind of leads us there, man. I think that we've seen them over the last 10 days have a lot of times where they get stuck in the mud, and it's no duh analysis. And it's been kind of a problem for them all year without us having to really put a microscope on it. But it's been really difficult for this team to keep things going offensively when they just can't shoot the ball. And you saw the Spurs do it. I mean, the Spurs don't really have to pack the paint that much, but when they're like, all right, we're just going to send help one away, and we have Wemby back here, and you have Stephon Castle just absolutely bubble wrapping Cade, that's not fun. And then you got the Magic. They're like, all right, like let's just pack the paint. You got the Cavs. Let's pack the paint. Then you're seeing it start to become difficult. I think as we're getting to crunch time, we're getting towards the playoffs, we're getting to see teams have scouting reports. They've amassed enough data. They're really testing their final things out before playoff time. And I think that is going to be a really big problem for the Pistons. Duncan Robinson can't fix all their problems, and he himself, he's had cold stretches here and there, especially over this past week. But I mean, you can't have Devin Vassell have the same amount of threes that your team has in one game.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't keep up with teams that you're equally matched up against like that. That's just not gonna be sustainable.
No, like it was especially noticeable, obviously, in that Spurs game. It was the only game that they lost, but that was the one where we really saw that cold stretch from Detroit come in terms of shooting, and the Spurs just were obviously hot in that game as well. I think they made 18 triples in that game. So, I mean, like, that's just, like, they're not going to be able to keep up with that. Like, that's kind of just an anomaly. But that was kind of the game where you really looked around and, like, God, they really need to make a shot. Because it's literally Duncan Robinson shooting 39% on high volume. Everyone else, then, it's either low volume and low percentages, or it's both. Yeah. It's one or the other, or it's both. And, like, that's going to be a real problem. Like, this is the modern NBA. You've got to have at least some belief that you have at least a couple of guys that when they're open, they're going to knock down the shots. And you just don't know if the Pistons have that outside of Duncan Robinson. You believe that like Cade could get hot. Tobias Harris, obviously we never know what he's going to do in a playoff situation. You just don't know where they're going to get that shooting from. And that was like somewhat a problem for them last year. Obviously it was kind of similar when they had, my God, what the hell is his name? Beasley. Doing his thing like Robinson. And like they've replaced that, but they just haven't got enough around that. They just had one other guy who could make regularly on high volume. It would make such a big difference.
Yeah. I think this is where we need to see a little less of Karis LeVert. I love what I think I see what they like in Karis LeVert. When Cade's off the floor, you get another guy that can create off the wing, that can really push the ball in transition, that isn't afraid to shoot, and he can be a streaky shooter. or times when he's really getting hot, but he doesn't hold that gravity, and he's just not making shots either. I want to see Kevin Huerter. Like, give it a chance. Give it a chance.
Yeah, he's barely played, does he?
Oh yeah, he's an unrestricted free agent. This offseason, it would be nice to see what you can get. I mean, you literally got off Jaden Ivey, like, not for him necessarily, but kind of for him. Like, not just to get Jaden Ivey new change of pace. Like, you got yourself another option as a shooter, and Kevin Huerter, I think, gives you the same push and transition. He's gonna fit this mentality well. He's not. He's a physical player. I think that he would really look good in this system, and I think they need to give him a chance. They need to tweak things a little bit, and maybe exchange Karis LeVert's minutes a little bit just to kind of see what kind of shooting they can get from Huerter there. Because how many times? I mean, two games against the Magic and against the Pistons, it was like they had a shooting drought, and then finally Javonte Green hits like a wide open three, and then that was their three for that stretch. And they just can't rely on that. One thing I want to say about two things. One, Tobias Harris. I got to give a shout out to Tobias Harris. Like, he's been huge for their depth, man. Just been really steady for them, at least over this stretch, and especially when they're having a drought, when Cade's not on the floor, and you need a bucket. I mean, Harris has been doing a really great job in terms of just getting to his shots and being a sense of offense when they've missed 3-4 in a row. They've been swing. No one's really rotating that hard, and they're still missing shots. Like, Tobias Harris has been a solid option for them. I want to talk about Ron Holland, a guy that they're not willing to trade. Like, anytime there's anyone's like calling about Ron Holland, they're hanging up the phone. And I see the vision. He's had some great drives to the rim, great body control in the air, and he's still not fully polished that end. But like, that burst and his vertical jumping ability and ability just to overall attack the basket has just been on full display. Like, he's such a blur in transition, and especially with him and Ausar Thompson on the floor, it gets really tricky to keep them on the floor together with their shooting. But that blend of athleticism from the wing there, their quickness, I think Holland's become a very good defender, but can still get better. I think, dude, he's like the perfect definition of a shot away, because he's not scared. Like, he gets to the right spots. He's filling in the corners when needed. He's rising to the wings when needed. Like, he's in the right areas and has the right timing to take advantage of what the offense is giving him. It's just not there yet. But his ability to get in the paint, blended with, if he could just get a reasonable 3-point jump shot, I see why they're holding on to this guy. Like, this guy, I think, could be a really, really, really valuable piece on this team, like, for years, if that shot comes around. I think it gets a little bit murky if we're coming into next season after that, and we're still seeing him as like a 30% or less 3-point shooter. That's just not going to be sustainable around the team if they want to go somewhere far. But I see the vision.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting this year when you kind of look at a few guys on this roster that obviously fit like the physicality, the defensive, the hard-nosed side really well. But are they the ultimate difference? Are they the guy maybe you have to give up on to like truly get the most out of like your Durans and your Cades and to truly like win? It's going to be super interesting to see how far they go in the postseason and what kind of reverberations come off of that going into the postseason or going into the off season.
Yeah, so I mean, they'll still maintain that, man. Like, you keep these two around. I love that they got Javonte Green, honestly, because he fits that so well. And Thompson, man, I think he's always gonna. They have their core, and this will continue to kind of adjust moving forward. But
I will say, just on like the shooting as a whole, and just like I was mentioning about not having that 100% locked in fellow 20-point per game scorer alongside Cade, that's why I can still talk myself into the facts that I think if the Knicks are playing at their best, they can still beat this Pistons team. I know you're laughing at me.
Full circle, yes.
I know we've been getting our ass handed to us every game this season, but that most recent game, yeah, I know the Pistons defense, they do a good job of like taking away our corner threes when we play them, but the Knicks also missed every single open shot that they had in that Pistons game, that the most recent matchup. And I just think, like, we've seen games since where the Knicks are hitting their shots and they're looking fantastic. If the Knicks shot is going down, and Karl Anthony Towns has his head out of his ass, and that Mike Brown as well is willing to draw up plays for Karl Anthony Towns. If that's happening if the Knicks and Pistons go head to head in the playoff series, I still believe the Knicks have a good shot at beating them.
I think that would be a remarkable turn of events, because it very much feels like there's a dynamic throughout a season where, and I think the Spurs started to get this on the Thunder a little bit. There, I think the Pistons just feel like they own the Knicks. Like they walk onto that court and there's not just zero fear, but they are salivated. They want to beat the absolute shit out of you guys, and they've done it consistently. So for the Knicks to turn things around, I mean, I think it'll be just tough, because I think that the Pistons have really found ways to expose the shooting. Yes, it's been bad shooting luck from time to time.
No, it's maybe just that last game, to be honest. For the most part, it was just obviously just all around like great defense from the Pistons in those couple of games in Detroit.
But man, Cade was that was a signature performance, man. There's always one in MSG. Like you guys just know how to really roll out the red carpet and have other players, other superstars really show out. But
we're definitely the best team in the league at that. we are great at that. LA is not far behind, but we're like top tier when it comes to letting other players go off at Madison Square Garden. But yeah, it's something about the Knicks. I'm just like being able to talk myself into being positive, especially after the way last season went with getting destroyed by the Cavs and the Celtics pretty much all season as well. And then we just got into the playoffs. I think the best thing that can happen to the Knicks is that they're getting underrated as we get to the playoffs. That's something I'm kind of actually looking forward to happening.
Getting into Cade, though, there's so many things we could say about Cade. I think we've talked about him in the last few years, like mostly in the context of disappointment, that we were very high on him going into each season. Like, when are we going to see the jump? Like, we've seen slow progression, but there's always the defensive knocks, not really being good at getting at the rim. The efficiency from mid-range was questionable. And the handle at times, the turnovers were tough. And this season now, I mean, it's hard to say that there's anyone better in the East. Obviously, when Giannis is healthy, if Embiid was healthy, sure. We're now, he's definitely in Brunson range. We always thought that he maybe had the potential to be just a step below a Jason Tatum, a Luka Doncic, and it could be a hyperbole, like prisoner of the moment type of situation, but seeing the way that he's played this year makes me feel like he has entered that territory. He's entered conversation for top 10 territory. He's entered conversation for being that level of player. And just starting with the offense, like what have you seen this year that makes him right now pretty close to an MVP candidate? If not, he's not just as an outside shot, like he's working his way there.
It's just the all-around game. I just feel like he just feels more comfortable. It feels like everything's just slowed down for him another step, and he's just like in full control. When the ball's in his hands, you just have the ultimate faith that he's going to make the right play, whether that be finding an open shot for a teammate, finding a lob for Duren, getting himself to the rim, finding a three for himself. Like it just feels like he's kind of hit that moment where everything is just slowed down for him, and like this is now his floor. He's going out there feeling like he's the best player on the court every night that he goes out there.
Yeah, I think the confidence definitely is there, and a lot of that is from team success too. The spacing that they have and what JB has done to really turn things around since things were really downhill a few years ago. But I'd say for me, like the most surprising thing, I'm not surprised to see him be such a pick and roll maestro. I think we always felt that he would be there eventually. In terms of how the turnovers have dipped down, how the right reads are happening, and they're happening fast. But what's interesting for me is watching him this year, he feels faster. He feels quicker. And it's not kind of this, he gets an advantage and he tries to get to the rim, and then like he gets kind of slowed down, and that's where his shots at the rim like didn't look great. Like, he did not look like a 6'7", 6'8", wide-shouldered, big wing getting the paint. Like, he looked kind of slow, unathletic. This year, he looks the most athletic we've ever seen him, and I think that, I don't know if this is a combination of just like physical maturity, training and getting his strength up, getting his quickness up for that. But I mean, he looks more athletic than he did coming out of college. He has this burst to him, especially getting downhill, that it just feels unstoppable at times. And that wasn't really like the initial scouting report on him with him coming into the league. Like he wasn't like this like big downhill guy. Like he was very methodical. He would take advantage of smaller players. Like he'd use his change of pace to get to the rim. But now, I mean, he's just like blowing by guys. Blowing by guys. If you're smaller, he's gonna like stay here. He's gonna take you right into the rim. But I think his command of the basketball and the way that he's gotten to the rim has been a huge part of like how he's been generating offense. And the dunks, man, like it feels like he was not dunking like this like first couple of years. Like he's really just demanded a lot of attention there.
Yeah, and I guess he's kind of overcome those kind of little niggly injury issues that he's been having kind of since he entered the league as well. Like this feels like the most healthy he's been throughout a regular season so far. So yeah, I think, like you said, like he's right on the cusp of that like top 10 conversation, and I just think he really just needs a strong playoff run, which I believe probably will come this year to kind of really kind of cement his name in that conversation.
Yeah, the weird thing about him is the shooting. Like he has had his best year as a pull-up three-point shooter. It's just been like devastating at times, the shot off the dribble that he's been able to have, but the off-ball shooting has not been there. So I mean, there's still room to grow for him too, especially if the Pistons can really coalesce around another creator alongside Cade. That'll be good to see for him to grow. But on the whole, man, yeah, I think the Pistons for me feel like a very strong, very, very strong contender coming out of the East. I'd feel good about them if they made it out the East for them to make some noise. It doesn't feel like they'd be just some de facto winner in the East. And they have some competition to go through. I mean, I think that it's been surprising the amount of dominance that they showed over the Knicks. I think that they're well matched and they've just had the upper hand this year. Still got to get through the Celtics. Who knows if Jason Tatum comes back? But that would just be a picture perfect series between those two. But I think the Pistons are representing the East well, and they've not just gone into, hey, they're going to be a top 6 team. They'll be a good team in the East. Like, they're the best team in the East right now. And that is not something I think I would have thought would happen, at least for a couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, if rumors are to be believed, just quickly on the Celtics, apparently Jason Tatum is coming back on Friday. Don't know how true that is.
Did that just wait?
That was not announced by anyone from the Celtics. No. Let's not get crazy. I say the rumor mill is spreading. I think Bill Simmons started this, I believe. Could be wrong on that, but I believe it was Bill Simmons who started this.
That's not a bad rumor mill source. This isn't.
So that's where we're going with that. Yeah. This is Bill Simmons that said on his podcast. So maybe I was wrong about Jason Tatum coming back. We'll just have to see whether it's Friday or whether it's soon. But the fact that that's even a conversation would probably make you think he's at least coming back at some point. But that remains to be seen.
Scrimmages.
They're doing pretty well without him.
Yeah. To stay on Cade, we let's just talk about MVP real quick. How do you feel about his chances for MVP?
Honestly, not good. His season's just not spectacular enough. As much as like we like the way as good as he has been, if you're playing in the Eastern Conference to win MVP, it feels like you really have to be having an absolutely mind-boggling season, like Joel Embiid did when he won the award. Cade is just not doing anything spectacular enough, and that's not like trying to like slam him and not say that he's a great player and not say that he's probably been the best player in the Eastern Conference this year. It's just not enough. He's not like leading the league in any categories. He's not shooting a high percentage from 3. He's been great, but he's just not doing enough to really kind of put himself in that conversation for me.
Huh.
You're expecting a different answer?
Interesting. I don't know. 20, nearly 26 points, 10 assists, 6 rebounds. Best team in the East. Counting stats and best player on one of the best teams. I think it gets you kind of close. I don't think Jokic is going to make it. I don't think Jokic is going to make it with the games played. We got Shai. He has 6 games to miss, and you know that. Actually, I can't say this for sure. It would be tricky to say, but do you think Shai will just tough it out just to have the games played to win another MVP?
I think he'd tough it out. I think he kind of needs to with the other injuries with OKC if they want to really make sure that they have that 1 seed. Like they could fall out of the 1 seed if Shai is going to miss 5, 6, 7 games toward the end of the season for sure.
I think that is Cade's one hope. So the thing is, if Cade is out of it, if Wemby is out of it, if Jokic is out of it due to games played, do you take Cade over? Do you take Jalen Brown over Cade?
I would, yes. I think the story on Jalen Brown is bigger and better than Cade right now. Because where we expected the Celtics to be before this season and where they are now, I think that's a better storyline to get to win an MVP than what Cade's doing, in my opinion.
This is some crazy Knicks hate here.
29, 7, and 5.
Just say it, man. You're still salty. You dropped 42 on your head last week.
Yeah, right. You can go with that angle if you want, man. Jalen Brown, 29, 7, and 5. He's taken 5 more shots than he did last year. He's shooting a better percentage from the field. His team are 40 and 20. I think that's actually, is that 41 and 20 now?
Yeah.
Like he's been absolutely insane. They're looking good to be the 2nd seed in the East.
Yeah.
I just think the story there is better than Cade. I don't think either of them are going to win MVP, but I think the story behind Jalen Brown's like rise without Jason Tatum, I think is a bigger story than Cade. So I'd probably have Brown above Cade in the pecking order. But like you said, Jokic is probably out of it. At the same time, since he's come back, he hasn't missed a game.
Possible, yeah. But no, I think that's actually an interesting thought exercise, and interesting. You didn't even mention Jalen Brunson. Donovan Mitchell actually might be like.
I'm not going to try and push Jalen Brunson's name, and in fairness, in Jalen Brunson's world, he's actually had more bad games, in my opinion, this year that he has as a Knick before.
Yeah,
he's still great, and he's still had a great year, and I still believe he'll deliver for us in the playoffs. But in terms of like the regular season this year, he's definitely had a lot more kind of like sub 40% shooting games, like sub 15-point games. Like there's definitely been some weaker games. Obviously had some great ones too, but there's definitely been more weaker games this year than over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's certainly close. It's definitely interesting to think about because to think about Jalen Brown and Cade Cunningham in the same sentence, like if it just speaks to how good the Celtics can be, man.
Yeah.
The Celtics have 2 guys that are legitimate, like MVP candidates, like right on the cusp. Like they're both. I mean, Jalen Brown has argued, like, hey, I'm like a borderline top 10. I'm a top 10 player. I am a top 10 player. Don't forget that. It's not just Jason Tatum and the rest and Jalen Brown. Like, it's Jason Tatum and me. It's me and Jason Tatum. Like, I'm a top 10 player. And it's that story in and of itself for him to keep the ship right. And it'll be really fascinating to see how Brown and Tatum play together. I don't buy like any of this noise. Like, oh, like how are they gonna fit? Like, come on, man. Like,
how are they gonna fit? We've seen it before.
Yeah, like, come on.
Like, no win the title.
and I think too, like, it's a perfect situation that it's not like the Celtics are like in the 7th seed. They need to like really push to get in, and Tatum needs to come back and rescue. No, it's like they're chilling. Tatum, come back, play 20 minutes. You can play off the ball a little bit, let you run a little offense, but Jalen Brown's got this. You want to start taking a few more shots. Okay, cool. Like we'll ease you back into it, and you can do that because guess what? Your buddy here is an MVP candidate. He's scoring nearly 30 a game with good efficiency, and screw you, Cade. That's your point. Yeah. All right, well said, Ronan Gaine. We've ended our Pistons glory with slandering them, as to be expected from you.
Yeah, of course. But the way I look at it, it's like Jokic and Shai are up here in the race. Then that tier below is Cade, who, like I said, not spectacular enough. Luka, too much bad press, too much of a mid team.
Yeah.
Wemby, I think not spectacular enough for Wemby. When Wemby wins his first MVP, it's going to be for spectacular reasons. This season, just not quite spectacular enough. And with how good the Spurs have been without him as well, I think that kind of drops him down a little bit. And then there's the two guys that I wish were more in the conversation, and that's Jaylen Brown and Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. Spider, I think Mitchell's had a really good year.
He has, but he didn't get the credit when they were the 1 seed, so why would he get the credit now?
This is fair. That's fair. But speaking about Luka, just real quick, like, what the heck is going on there? What is happening? What's going on? The vibes are not good.
No, it's pretty ugly. Obviously, playing the Warriors and the Kings obviously came at an amazing time for them. So they managed to get 2 blowout wins back to back. But yeah, obviously that loss to his Suns was rough. Him not taking that shot against the Magic, that was very un-Luka-like. And yeah, and it just gets uglier because now obviously we've seen like kind of the stats when it's like him, Reeves, and LeBron playing together. It's pretty ugly. I think the biggest part of it all, I think it would be a far less a kind of a dire situation for the Lakers if LeBron's shot wasn't just completely in the toilet. So him like playing as more of an off-ball player, like alongside Luka and Reeves, but then he can't make a 3. Like that's obviously going to plummet that team into the doldrums when the 3 of them are on the floor.
Yeah, that's always. I'm really curious to see what that's going to look like in the playoffs because they're still. I don't know if they're still the number 1 clutch team, but they're going to continue to be a top 3 clutch team in the league because they're playing a lot of close games.
Yeah,
because their defense can't do much. But I mean, they put themselves in positions. They got 3 guys really.
And DeAndre Ayton still thinks he's a fucking superstar when he's not. If he could just accept being prime Clint Capella, then the Lakers probably be in a better position.
Oh my god! Don't disrespect Clint Capella.
A prime Clint Capella would be the perfect center for Luka.
Don't disrespect Clint Capella.
I'm not disrespecting him.
DeAndre Ayton will never reach prime Clint Capella.
Yeah,
never. Like Houston Rockets Clint Capella, like Ayton can dream of that.
That would be perfect center for Luka Doncic.
Ayton can barely complete a lob with the best lob passer, with the 3 best lob passers in the league can barely complete a lob. That he wishes he could be out of prime Clint Capella.
Yeah, for real.
He wishes he could be Atlanta Hawks Clint Capella. Don't you dare slander Clint Capella by putting him in DeAndre Ayton's league. But anyways, I guess the funny thing with that whole exchange, I think there's a really divided opinion. When I first watched it with him and JJ Redick, I was like, oh, that's kind of spicy. But then in my head, I'm like, I don't know. They're both close. They know each other well. Like, Luka's a spicy guy. Is that a good thing? Obviously, Rich Paul is going to come and be like, oh, that's healthy. Like, I don't know if it's healthy. Is it expected? Maybe. I don't know. It's always something to keep an eye on. I don't think I'm like, oh, JJ is on thin ice because he's not getting along with Luka. Like, no. I think JJ feels the right to criticize Luka and to tell him, hey, play harder or get back on defense. Like the getting back on defense part is just that trend coming back around. It's just so annoying to see.
I mean, it happens with kind of all the Lakers at different times. I was watching that Warriors game Saturday night, and they gave up, I think, 3 wide open layups in a row off their own made baskets. So they've the whole team's kind of got a little bit of a problem with that. At the end of the day, this Lakers team is still just kind of right on the cusp. I still don't really know if I believe in them making noise in the playoffs, but I do believe slightly because I think Luka's that good. But at the end of the day, this team hasn't even begun to be built around Luka Doncic yet, and until that happens, they're really not going to make any serious noise.
Yeah. I think this is my hot take of the day. Do you think you can build a championship team around this Luka Doncic? Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
This one. Not like Luka doesn't change. He is who he is. Just like this, personality, effort on defensive end, effort getting back, complaining to refs, that sort of thing, holding the ball a lot. Like, can you build a championship championship team around this exact player?
I think yes, and I know, like you say, you can't change anything, but I believe, like, I think things will this automatically change when there's just like more, the team just makes more sense around him. I think that will just happen naturally. I think he's a little bit frustrated now, but at the same time, I think because they don't have the help that he's always had throughout his career defensively, it's more magnified now and it looks worse than it actually is. I don't think he's really playing that much different of a level of defense than he ever has in the NBA, but he doesn't have the guys
No,
helping him out.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think what we saw on that Mavs run is Luka actually give a shit. Like Luka, when the Mavs were playing the Celtics in the finals that year, that second half of the year, he locked in. Like he actually played on ball defense. He actually like rotated. He like actually was like running back on defense. He wasn't complaining. He was communicating on defense. Like he was doing a lot of the little things.
Why
Where
did he
that
do
went
that?
because they're
Because the Mavs got him everything that he could possibly need to be the best version of himself. So he wanted to do it. And I know that's not a good attitude to have, but
I know.
that's it.
But I wonder. But I think my point is like if if you have to give someone like a lot of external reasons to be this version of yourself, and you can't inherently be that, I think that's not a sign of greatness.
I respect
I
that.
think
That's
I think
fair.
greatness comes from like your Giannis's, your Steph Curry's, your LeBrons, like the players who elevate everyone around them. Not hey Luca, like let's give you everything you need so that you can be a leader to this team. It's like no, dude, you're the franchise. Like you have to lead that. You don't have to be the best defender. I mean, look at Cade. I mean, Cade's a perfect example. Cade's a perfect example. And the reason I love watching Cade more than I love watching Luca right now is like, is Cade the best defender on the floor? No. But he's big. He's got great timing. He's got good hands. So what does he do? He plays. He's really good at being a weak side defender. He's still slides his feet. He still works hard on defense. Still runs the floor hard. Still gets back. Doesn't complain. Doesn't talk like he's a leader. Like you feel that leadership on the floor. You don't feel it from Luca. You don't feel that from him. So like I think my take is that I mean how do you? I think we gave Luca grace for a long time because he was still a young player. And I think the thought is okay, he's going to be with LeBron, and LeBron's going to teach him the way. He's going to learn how to be, a better at taking care of his body, better at being a better leader, better at having more effort on the defensive end. Oh, you're going to have JJ Redick. That's a great leader. He's someone that he knows. He's really going to keep him in check. And yes, is Luca saying he's going through something off the court? Sure. And that sucks. Like, honestly, like life, there's a lot of things in life bigger than basketball. And I'm sure that for someone like him who loves basketball, it's got to be something big. So I can appreciate that that's hard, whatever it is. But I think there's enough mounting evidence for me to feel like I don't think that you're the level of leader to lead a team to a championship. I think you need all these external things to get you there. I mean, how much of that was Kyrie? Like, honestly, like, how much leadership did Kyrie? And Kyrie does not get enough credit for this, honestly. I think for all the bad things that Kyrie has been associated with over the years, I think Kyrie's leadership for the Mavs was just truly invaluable. Truly invaluable. It was him who was like that like true veteran leader on the court and in that locker room for the Mavs in a way that Luka wasn't. Is Luka right now this version of himself? I don't think he's ever going to lead a team to a championship unless he massively changes. Massively. I don't think this version of Luka is ever going to win a championship, no matter who you throw around him. Give him 5 shooters, 5 3-and-D guys, a lob threat center. That's not going to change the fact that Luka's DNA is right now not meant for that. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you make some very fair points. I think you're obviously close to the women that give up on him compared to me, but I can't I really couldn't slam you too hard for the points that you made for sure. But yeah, Luka, come on, let's get it together. I think obviously maybe he's still I don't want to just give him a pass and maybe obviously we know how much he shook to the system when he had to leave Dallas. Dallas was his everything, and it's different in LA. Maybe still kind of trying to deal with that. I'm just really excited to see what version of Luka we get when LeBron is gone, and it's really like there really is no other scapegoat around. Like it's all coming on Luka. Then I'm kind of interested to see if that only magnifies and gets worse because it's already pretty bad now, or that kind of inspires him to be better. We'll just have to hold off and wait and see on that one. But let's finish out the episode. Let's talk about Sixth Man of the Year. I didn't realize what an insane race this had turned into. I know this is an award that's kind of an afterthought sometimes, but it's an important role that everyone in the league wants to have a guy in the Sixth Man of the Year race. And this year, like it's going to be an insane battle. Like I feel like this should be like the tightest race out of all the awards in the entire NBA this year.
Who is your favorite so far?
It's hard to not say Naz Reid because like he's still doing more than enough to be warranting it. He is still putting up 14.6 boards, a steal and a block, and nearly 40% from three. Like he's still doing amazing things. But like everyone, like there's so many guys on winning teams doing great things. Like Tim Hardaway Jr., 14 points per game, 41% from three. Like that's been unbelievable for Denver. Like if they didn't have him, they'd be like they're kind of hitting this for the most part over the last while. Without him, they'd be in a big hole. Yeah. Keldon Johnson, 13 and 6 off the bench, like 54% from the field, 38% from deep. Like he's been great on a winning team, a team that might just end up as the number one seed in the West. Jamie Jaquez Jr., what a bounce back he's had. 15, 5 and 5, basically shooting 50% from the field. Imagine if that guy was shooting anywhere close to league average from three. He would be on another level. And then, of course, we got Reed Shepherd, who's looked fantastic. 13, 3, 1.4 steals off the bench, shooting 40% from deep. Had a great impact. I watched a couple of Rockets games over the last few days, and he's been huge for them. So, like, this is just... It's still Naz Reid's to lose, but I think a lot of guys are going to get votes this year.
I'm curious to see what Reed's final stretch is going to look like, though. In the last 8 games, he's averaged 17 points per game, 4.4 assists, and the shooting split's been good. He's shooting 45% from three. Not so great from inside the arc, but that's not his goal on the floor. He's got to stretch the floor out. But
especially with this Rockets team.
Especially for this Rockets team. For a Rockets team that has very difficult stretch ahead to really maintain themselves here. I think, and with the amount of scrutiny that's being placed on their offense right now, I mean, Reed has an opportunity, if he keeps up this strong play, that maybe this is his. Like, that would be really cool for him in this prove-it year where I think, you know, we set this deadline for the Rockets, like, hey, I don't know if you maybe want to go out and get a guard. I don't know if you need some shooters. And like, now we don't need anything. So like, maybe our deadline didn't even matter because they were going to make a move regardless. But I think he's proven enough where that would be that'd be cool for him to get. One person I do want to mention is Isaiah Stewart. I think Beef Stew, man, has been
fair.
I mean, he's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year, but man, I mean, his rim protection has been absolutely insane.
So if there was a defensive Sixth Man of the Year, he'd be
oh
there.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Honestly, that would be a good one. Like, you know, like your Dyson Daniels, your Isaiah Stewarts of the world. I think Keldon Johnson, like just out of
Mitchell Robinson too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that would be a fun award. I think it would be cool to split it up because I think six men means so many different things. I think it's always just classically. Like, we love to think of our Lou Williams type player, like spark plug off the bench, scorer, that sort of thing. But sometimes, like, you need, like, your Dennis Rodman type player. Like, you need that guy to come off the bench who's rebounding the hell out of the ball and playing defense. And it would be cool to recognize those guys in a different way. But Keldon Johnson, man, I think it's hard not to vote for Naz Reid again because of what he does for this team. Like, it's easy. Like that's a layup. To vote for
I actually forgot he didn't win it last year as well.
Yeah, like I mean, Naz is probably the right choice, but Keldon, I think I want to celebrate Keldon here because he was a guy that I didn't really believe in anymore. Like, he had his flashes of shooting, then would just never get right. You know, I think that the flow of the offense, which was more of a systemic problem and like them growing pains rather than like him as a player problem, but he's just never an efficient player. And he has been insanely efficient this year. Shooting 54% from the field, 38% from three. And while his total gross scoring has not jumped, anytime he's called on, he's scoring the ball. He's getting in the paint. He's driving downhill. He's getting hot from three. He's running the floor. Like, he is just an absolute force of nature when they unleash him off the bench. And it's been a big part of why the Spurs have such good depth this year. That was such a big question at the beginning of the year. It's like, do the Spurs have enough depth? Are three guards going to work? Is that really going to work alongside that? Well, it really works when you have some pretty good wings coming off your bench, and Keldon Johnson being one of them, being the primary one. But yeah, man, like, I think that it would be cool to see Keldon win it. It would be really cool to see Nas win it again, because I think he's just still so steady off that bench for Minnesota. And Reach Everett, who knows? Who knows that all? That I think he has an opportunity. I think that the story would be pretty great if he ends this season scoring like almost 20 a game. He's like 17, 18 a game with the way that he's shooting. If he starts to unlock things on that for them offensively to stretch the floor for them, that would be worth a vote for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like the biggest obviously thing for the Rockets really is that this is just a stepping stone, and he's ready to be the starter next year. That's got to be like that's what their mindset is, and I assume that's probably what his mindset is as well. That's got to be what they're really kind of looking at for Reed with the season that he's had this year.
Yeah.
Because who knows what version of Fred VanVleet is going to come back. But you know, you mentioned it. Like, I'm just kind of thinking now, like, how much are we just going to hear about if the Rockets go down in the first round? We're just not going to hear nonstop. Why didn't they go get a guard? They should have gone to get a guard. Why didn't they make any moves at the deadline? We are going to hear that so much.
Well, Raphael Stone already basically said, well, like, we don't have Fred VanVleet. It's like they're already preparing themselves to make an excuse for why this run didn't work. That's a whole other subject. Just like totally out of sync, man. Totally out of sync. You go out and you get Kevin Durant, and it's unfortunate Fred VanVleet goes down, but I mean, Kevin Durant's playing some insane basketball. He's still playing insane basketball. And you have the assets, man. It's frustrating to see you, like, a GM not go out and make a move, because look where they are, man. They're right there. They're right at the top of the East. This isn't like a lost season where it's like, you might not want to. And there's always the argument, I think, that as fans we're like, go make a move because it'll make sense in 2K, and it takes time to implement offenses. It takes time to gel chemistry between players in a way that is sustainable for the playoffs. But at the same time, it's Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's playing like one of the best players ever. He still is one of the best players ever, and got to give him a shot.
Yeah, no, that's the best thing, and that's like, it's sad when we're kind of watching all these guys like KD, like Steph,